Ready?
Yeah.
Hope you don't fail.
Cool as fuck.
Welcome to Distilled Down. I'm your host, Andy Rieger, president of Rieger Co, where we're sitting right now. Joined by good friend, industry icon and legend, Master Distiller Tom Nichol. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, interesting background. You are a fascinating individual who I got to meet 8-9 years ago. Tell us, how did you get to where you are sitting today, and do not mention an airplane?
Well, I was born beside a distillery. My father worked in the distillery. The distillery, the smells from the distillery were that was ingrained into me, just from the mashing side. And we had a place next to us that it was just lovely smells coming up.
They were making Scotch whiskey?
Yeah. You make whiskey. It was just, obviously you can't call it Scotch until it's been 3 years. Distilleries then where your father had to be in the distillery, or your uncle, or a cousin. Nepotism was big there, but you didn't get a job unless you were in. So it was hard going, because my father was he was precise in everything he did. So I had to be precise.
What was his role?
At the time, I think he was a warehouse manager.
Managing packaging, barrels,
yeah. He had several jobs, and unfortunately his health wasn't good, so he had to step down from certain areas. And that was it. So I spent 20 years at that distillery. It was Canvas Distillery. I did lots of jobs, right from sweeping the floor to stenciling barrels, animal feed stuff, doing all that. Carbon dioxide, that was great. I fucking loved doing that. And then whiskey. And then I moved to Cameron Bridge Distillery when Canvas shut down. I was there for 22 years. I made Neuro Spirit, whiskey, vodka, fuck me, what else? Gin. Jeez, just about forgot about that. A little one. And it was good. So I've made them all. But when I decided I was going to retire, because as being the master distiller of Tanqueray, I wasn't just making the gin. I had to travel around the world and do all presentations.
You alluded to how 2015 you were interested in maybe retiring a little bit early and debating what to do, and we got introduced. But walk sort of through that from your side of the story. From your time at Tanqueray to the retirement to coming here for the first time to listening to Steve.
By the time I'd finished with Tanqueray, when I wanted to retire, it was simple as this. It was getting too hectic. I had too much work to do. I was travelling around the world. I was coming back. I had something like 700 fucking emails to do, and that took up ages of my time, because I always like to respond to an email. But that takes a lot of time. And you're trying to work the stills. I had 3 big stills, 12,000 litres in each still, and making different gins in them. So I was doing that and sitting on a computer and trying to do this. And it got too much for me. I keep on saying, like Tanqueray 10, it's in the past. I've created a gin here we've created a gin here that I think that surpasses Tanqueray number 10.
So I'll never forget when, in the build-up of Rieger Co, Steve, like you alluded to, always said, and if we ever want to start a gin program, we'll just get Tom Nichol, the current master distiller of Tanqueray. We'll just get him to leave Tanqueray and come over and start the gin program. And, we both know Steve well enough, and I was starting to learn who Steve was, and I'm like, this guy's completely loony. That the guy that Tanqueray is just going to come over here and start a gin program in Kansas City. Like, the guy's certifiably insane by believing that that's a reality. And so I'll never forget, he kept saying it over and over again. And then I was on my honeymoon, and he sent me an email saying, hey, just talked with Tom, pretty sure we could get him to come to Kansas City to visit the distillery to see if it would be something he wants to be a part of. And without hesitation, I just responded to Steve immediately. yeah, sure, that sounds great. Why don't you just connect us on an email and we'll get all of his information. We'll book him a flight and have him come on over here. Thinking that would be the end of it. And as soon as I did that, you, within about 5 minutes, responded with all of your information that I needed to be able to book a flight, passport number, address, everything. And I took no chances, booked the flight almost immediately in the day range that you said that you could do it. And then you came to Kansas City, and your first thoughts of Kansas City?
Yeah, well, the whole thing is I responded within 5 minutes. That 5 minutes was me looking to see where the fuck is Kansas City. You know, because I have no idea. I mean, you know, 50 fucking states in Missouri. I thought, well, Missouri? So I looked up and I thought, yeah, that was cool. And if Steve thinks you're okay, you probably are going to be okay. So that was it. You're not just okay. I mean, honestly, it was the best face. Just coming here and seeing the Distillery, which was nothing at the time. But the still, you know what I said. Well, what the fuck is that?
He's referencing to our now test still that we originally started out as our gin still.
Yeah. But it was a test still, but we made it work. We really made it work. So I just fell in love with the place.
And Kansas City as a whole as well.
Yeah. It's just a nice place. People are really nice here.
And then skipping forward, you and Nathan and Steve worked diligently on the recipe, and we got it right, nailed it down. So talk about the gin very briefly before we get into the next phase.
It was basically, you guys said you wanted sort of in the style of a London dry gin, which suits me down to the ground. You know, that's what I know about. And then I just asked you, what do you want in it? You know, you tell me. And basically you just threw it back at me and said, well, you tell us. So by the time we got that, and then we decided, suppliers of botanicals, the neutral spirit that we used, first neutral spirit you gave me, no, wasn't going to work. Not fucking at all. And if you wanted something really, really good, really nice, can you get me these things? And you did. Yeah, so it's not difficult.
Yeah. All neutral spirit isn't the same. All botanicals aren't the same.
No, yeah, but once we've done all the testing,
and from, because I don't distill it at all, what's been fascinating in watching distilling in America right now is you always talk about apprenticeship as being something so important in people actually learning how to make gin because of how vastly different it is than whiskey.
Yeah.
And seeing just the nuanced details that go into making every batch of this, from the quantities that we utilize in the still, how long they're sitting in the still before or not, before the still is turned on, the rate of distillation, the actual percentages that you're keeping by tasting it. And I'll never forget when we did it the first time, we tasted every single liter and the batch at every single liter that we were running through, and to find where the right moment in time was. And it was just a fascinating process to see how much more goes into it than what probably every single distillery in America even recognizes needs to go into it in order to make a really high-end quality product. So, but having someone around that has that expertise has been beyond invaluable.
I remember saying to you, I mean, you're a money guy. You can look at anything on a computer. I know you're great at that. So I don't know if you remember, but I worked out how many bottles we get at this strength, whatever, and does that work? Because it's got to work. I mean, accounting-wise, when I make a gin, there's a massive loss. Because, it's got to be that bit in the middle of it. So people don't realise that. They're trying to stretch a bit more and get a bit more. And you said to me, could we just get a tiny bit more? I thought, well, we'll try. And we got there and you were happy. And everybody was happy with the gin. Steve Olsen, you're going to see after this. But he pushed me. He said, Tom, you can do better than that. I know I can fucking do better than that. But it was hard because we were trying to change the still. And we didn't, remember, with the copper piping, just to add the extra copper.
And then once we built this beautiful distillery, we let you design your own still.
Yeah, with Nathan.
Nathan, our master distiller, and the two of you. But you had this idea of a still design that in all your years at Tanqueray, they never let you design your own still.
No, because the stills we had were hundreds of years old, you know, so it's, but I've got it in my mind. You can't, honestly, that's a great still. You know, everything about it is perfect. And when you start distilling and you see the vapor rising and it starts to sort of, it's like rain falling down, magic. There's some magic going on inside that, and you get to see it. Whereas the stills I had in the past, you couldn't see that because there was no small windows to see things happening. And that's just a magic still, so it is.
So the next phase of this is we're going to review 2 pictures. So these are pictures that we've taken of you or you have sent us sometime over the last 8 years. I don't know which ones these are. So we're just going to go ahead and look at these together, and you are going to explain what is happening in each of these photos. Here is the first photo.
Christ. Yeah, you took me to this place. You can buy anything, eh? You can buy a gun and everything. You can buy a gun.
This was
Silly fucking thing.
you're referencing when we were in Texas in 2017.
Yeah, and
we went into Buc-ee's, which is a very large, you would call it a petro station, that has gas station.
you got everything.
That has everything inside of it, from restaurants to 10,000 clothing options. And this cowboy hat is what you pick. So walk us through that selection.
Well, it was either you or Ryan said, well, we'll buy you this hat. No fucking chance. I'm not going to wear that hat, but you got me to wear it. Look at my face. I was not a happy chappy. You know, wearing these things. I know that Texans and, you know, they've got about with boots and hats and all the fucking rest of these things. But, you know, that is not for me. But I did it for you because you asked me to do it. And I probably took it off and said, yeah, I ain't buying that.
And you also called boots that trip kick shitters.
Yeah.
As opposed to shit kickers.
Did I? I can't remember.
All right, picture number 2.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah. What about this picture?
That's one of my favourite pictures of my family, and they all got Rieger Co t-shirts.
But what kind of Rieger Co t-shirts?
Well, my fucking face on it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I thought they were quite cool. And it was nice that
Imported Scotsman domestic gin, right?
yeah. I don't mind what you put on it. It just looks really cool.
Yeah.
And to have my whole family there wearing it, and to go into bars and some people were wearing this, I thought that this is surreal. You know, you've got my face on your chest, for Christ's sake. It's weird.
We'll send a box to Alloa, Scotland, and make sure that everybody...
In Alloa, Scotland, they couldn't give a shit about what I do.
All right. The last picture we're going to look at is one of my favorites. So we just looked at one of your favorites.
Okay.
This one is one of my favorites. And here, again, we're going to need you to tell us what is going on in this photograph.
Okay. It was...
So first tell your side of the story.
Well, I think, you know me, that when I get to a certain time of night, that I just need to go home, or, because I get very tired, jet lagged, whatever. And then you called a taxi for me. It wasn't a taxi, it was a fucking police car. And the guy who was driving it, the policeman, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And then you said to me, well, look as though you're getting arrested, Tom. Hence the fucking angry look in my face. I like that picture. I really do. But I wished we'd got the policeman in it because he was just such a nice.
You can see him in the corner over your shoulder.
Oh, and just a little bit. Look at me. God, straight was always that fat.
All right. So what we're gonna end with on this show is very, very simply, what does it mean for you to be going from a massive, large corporation, the largest in this entire industry, to working, and I don't want to say working, but operating partner, where you get to have your voice heard very well. People jump and ask how high whenever you say jump. What is it like going from big, massive to small, unique, independent, and everything has to go through 100 scientists versus let's just try it out and see it, and that big company to this unique, intimate brand?
For one thing, yeah, when you're in this massive industry, I found at the end of my career, I was just a number. And that kind of hurt me, that you're just a number and you don't have any say in the matter. And that was particularly because one of the gins that I made with a scientist was the shittiest gin you could ever fucking find in your life, and I didn't want anything to do with it. But lots of people liked it, it was tested, and then they said, well, you're just a number, you don't have a say in it. And that hurt me, it really did. So when I came here to Kansas City, meet you guys, and I wasn't just a number anymore, I was somebody. And I was part of the company. How fucking great was that? I didn't have, I wasn't an employee who just had to do what I was told to do. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I enjoyed my entire career. But, I got to the stage where, don't call me just a fucking number. And that hurts. So when I came here, met you guys, oh, this is just a dream come true. I'm living my dream here. It's just, I can't even believe I'm sitting here. It's just so good.
Well, you got to see this place go from a warehouse that was empty and dilapidated to what it is now, and you got to see everything in just a short 8 years.
Well, and I can assure you, in a couple of years' time, it's my 50th wedding anniversary, and I'm going to get my whole family out here. They need to see this place.
Well, cheers to some gin, which you have been smelling and sipping this whole time, and I have as well. Mr. Tom Nichol, thanks for being a part of J. Rieger Co. in our journey. Thanks for being a guest today.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
This is Distilled Down. I'm your host, Andy Rieger. Hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.